A wealthy German family witnesses unrest in the streets of France. Workers are protesting, demanding fair pay. Frightened, Alba and Philip ask their parents if it is dangerous for them to stay there. John, the head of the family, assures them that they are of no interest to those people. Besides, the car windows are bulletproof. The family arrives at their villa in Provence, where they usually spend the summer. It could not be more perfect. Esther ignores calls from her business partner Frank, having promised herself not to think about work during the holiday. For now there is only her beloved husband John and their wonderful children. In the evening the family dines at a restaurant and a local hotel, playing cards at the table. But Esther has to step aside to finally answer Frank's call. Some business problems have arisen, requiring urgent attention. Otherwise dinner goes smoothly. When her duties are finished, young Spanish Teodora, the hotel maid, gets on a motorcycle with a guy and rides off with him. Meanwhile the family drives back to the villa. Distracted John, a little drunk, notices someone on the road too late and slams on the brakes. Barely keeping himself together, he sees a girl on the roadside and immediately runs toward her. It is Teodora, frightened and injured. John intends to take her to the hospital, but Esther objects, saying it might harm their family. Instead, they could bring Teodora to the villa and care for her themselves. The girl says she would still prefer to go to the hospital, but Esther insists that she will be better off at the villa, since everything is there, bandages, antiseptics and so on. Teodora eventually gives in. The children wonder why their parents did not take the girl to the hospital, but they are asked not to interfere. Esther treats Theodora's wounds and gives her a separate room, while John frantically scrubs blood from the back seats of the car. This will be the family's secret. In the morning with some cash Esther gave her, Teodora leaves. Philip thinks it is not enough to compensate the girl, and John agrees with his son. But Esther sees it differently. €320 is a large sum for a migrant like Teodora. Either way, soon the girl returns to the villa, declaring that she was fired that day because of her injured hand. She also had to move out. So Teodora offers the couple her services as a maid until she finds another job. She could stay in the guest room. John dislikes this idea and offers Teodora more money, just so they would never hear from her again. But the girl refuses, saying she does not want to extort a bribe from them. Esther kindly asks Teodora when she can begin her duties. The girl settles into the guest room. Smoking is not allowed in the house, but Philip tells Teodora she can open the window a little so their parents will not notice the smell. John tells his wife they should not have hired Teodora. Esther points out that they had little choice. Unable to sleep, John wanders through the house at night and stumbles upon a half-dead Martin. Teodora suddenly appears, startling him. She says that if nothing is done, Martins will overrun the house. In these parts it is common. She also tells John he must put the animal out of its misery. The man is uneasy with all of this, yet he does as the girl says. Teodora diligently performs her maid's duties. In the house there is a rule: no vacuuming while Esther is at home, as the sound irritates her. Esther makes a shopping list for Theodora's dinner preparations and says John will drive her later. The maid quickly bonds with Alba, sensing that the girl lacks parental attention. In the village, Teodora meets colleagues from the hotel, who ask if she is alright. And Teodora is clearly fine. While shopping, John sees on the news that unrest continues in the cities. Protesters are smashing shops and grocery stores. John runs into an old acquaintance who suggests having some wine, so their trip to the village drags on. Meanwhile, Teodora and Philip chat outside. When the man is finally ready to drive, the maid offers to take the wheel. John should not do it again after drinking. At the villa, Philip helps the girl with chores. While she prepares dinner with Alba, John scatters poison for the Martins. Tonight the couple expects guests: Cora, Aki and their son. At dinner, they engage in casual conversation, while Teodora clears plates and serves coffee. Philip remarks that it is unfair that people like Teodora are paid mere pennies for their work. The next morning the family goes to the beach together with Teodora. But Esther does not go into the water because she is afraid of the depth. Teodora finds this strange, since she thought Esther was the kind of person who gets thrilled by fear. While everyone is having fun, Esther deals with work matters on the phone. Later when the woman dozes off in the sun, Teodora takes the phone out of her beach bag. Alba notices this, but keeps her eyes shut, pretending to sleep. Then the whole family searches for Esther's phone, but it is nowhere to be found. She cannot afford to be unreachable, since she is the one who handles all the key issues of her firm. Teodora says she knows where to buy a phone at a good price. But Esther does not care about the price, she needs the newest one. Still reception is poor, and it is difficult for Esther to contact her business partners. Teodora offers her a cigarette. Normally the woman does not smoke, but now she is so nervous that she agrees. They smoke together, and it brings them closer. Esther admits that sometimes she feels as if her life has gone off track. At times she wants to run away, simply disappear. Teodora suggests that the woman should really try it, disappear for a while. Esther would be glad, yet as a mother, as a wife, she cannot allow herself that. Philip begins secretly dreaming about Teodora. She in turn starts to flirt with John, complimenting his bicycle. He invites her to join him on his ride. They spend time together pleasantly. John cannot deny that this young woman attracts him. Meanwhile, Esther begins to notice that Philip and Teodora are growing closer. But perhaps it is not so bad that he has found a new friend. Alba tells her mother that she saw Teodora steal the phone. But the maid denies it, saying Alba is just slandering her. For some reason Esther believes not her own daughter but the maid. Seeing that the deep wound on Teodora's arm is still not healed, Esther out of pity invites her to dinner and picks out something for the maid from her wardrobe. At the restaurant, Esther tells Teodora that she has no right to be unhappy. She has family, career, money. The girl objects, saying that anyone has the right to feel miserable. Teodora also shares a secret. According to her, Alba is hiding the missing phone in her room. The woman thinks her daughter is simply jealous. Esther grows so fond of Teodora that she gives her one of her dresses. Suddenly the maid asks Esther if she is in the mood for an adventure. Meanwhile John is in thought. Something troubles him, but what exactly? The women go to a nightclub. Esther has not been in such places for a very long time. While Teodora burns up the dance floor, a handsome young man approaches Esther and offers her a cocktail. They strike up a conversation. His face seems familiar to her. After the cocktail she finally relaxes and dances as if she were 20 again. Later, Esther, Teodora and a few other young people watch the sunrise on the beach. Esther is afraid to go into the water, but the young man, Lucien, takes her by the hand and helps her overcome her fear. At that moment the woman feels absolute freedom. Dawn has already broken, yet she is in no hurry to return home. The group makes a fire on the shore. Everything that once seemed important to Esther no longer matters as much. At home she thanks Teodora for everything. Esther could never have imagined they might have so much in common. However, her relationship with her husband grows colder. John confides in Teodora how hard it is at times to endure his wife's temperament. The girl tells him that he is a very smart and strong man, and that his wife could not manage without him. The atmosphere in the family grows tense. Alba tells her mother that Teodora has stolen her things again. But Esther does not believe her daughter, still thinking it is jealousy. Besides, Esther feels that her husband is hiding something from her. John admits that he is on the verge of losing his job. Esther, obsessed with her own success, has long since stopped believing in him, and he has begun to doubt himself as well. Teodora pours Esther some homemade lemonade and hands her a note from Lucien, who wants to see her as soon as possible. Esther feels euphoria flood her. It has been a long time since she felt anything like this. Philip is obsessed with Teodora and ignores his sister, who feels unwanted by her parents and her brother. Everyone in the family seems to have become an enemy to one another, while Teodora is an ally to each of them, except Alba. Early in the morning, Esther leaves the villa to meet Lucien. They become lovers. They go on a motorcycle ride. Hugging Lucien from behind, Esther feels happiness, while John stays at the villa with the children and Teodora. The maid asks John if he would mind if her friend came over. He does not object. Alba does not like Theodora's presence in the house, but no one seems to care. Alba is left to herself. Theodora's friend arrives. Through Cora, Esther tells John that she will be gone for a while. The children ask their father what that means. He explains that sometimes everyone needs a pause, and that it is absolutely normal. Cora senses that Theodora's position in this house has changed. She is no longer a maid, but a member of the family. Alba walks alone in the forest. It turns out that Cora and John are lovers. Now with Esther gone and Aki occupied, they no longer have to hide. In the evening Theodora comes into Alba's room and strokes her hair. The girl likes it, since it is at least some attention. The maid notices Philip spying on her and tells him to back off, which upsets the young man deeply. At night while Lucien sleeps, Esther looks around his apartment, not a wealthy one. She opens the refrigerator and finds meat packed in bags. Teodora invites John to a party with her friends, but he politely refuses. Alba shows her father Theodora's lighter. John takes it from his daughter, saying it is dangerous to play with such things. Meanwhile, Esther keeps having fun with her lover, forgetting completely about her family. Lucien takes her to a party for his friend Estelle's birthday. The woman feels uncomfortable in this place, which resembles more of a den. When Esther hears from some guy that Estelle works at the local hotel, just like Lucien, she grows wary. She leaves a voice message for John, saying that she is heading home. Lucien approaches her and asks if everything is all right. Forcing herself to smile, Esther replies that all is fine, she just needs the bathroom. There, finding blood in the tub, a lot of blood, the woman rushes out in horror, only to have her path blocked by Teodora. The girl reveals that she was never a maid, just as none of them were. The truth is, John never hit Teodora at all, it was all arranged. People like Esther and her husband always underestimated people like Teodora and her friends. Of course Lucienne is involved as well. Esther, surrounded by these people, realizes with horror that they lure the rich into traps in order to use them as food. At night, John is awakened by loud laughter. Looking out the window, he sees Teodora and her friends swimming in the villa's pool. John immediately goes down and demands an explanation from Teodora. The girl says that they simply decided to swim and promises she will clean everything up tomorrow. John dislikes that Teodora did not ask permission, yet nevertheless he does not chase anyone away. Because of the loud laughter outside, it is impossible to fall asleep. John decides to go up to the attic to check if martins have infested the house again. Suddenly he turns around and sees Teodora and her friends. It was the last thing John ever saw. All night Philip wanders the streets and comes back only in the morning. At the villa, there is chaos, Theodora's drunken friends asleep by the pool. In the kitchen, Philip finds nothing to eat but freshly cooked meat and heats it in the microwave. Suddenly he feels something metallic in his mouth and spits out a wedding ring. In the final scene, we see Teodora and her friends leaving, taking Alba with them.